Hey, everybody. Thank you for stopping by and welcome to the Buckeye Zone. This is where we break down anything and everything related to our favorite college football program, the Ohio State Buckeyes. On today's show, we're going to be discussing fireworks. Yes, that's right, fireworks. Not only is it because of 4th of July weekend, and today is actually July 2nd, I was thinking about recording the show after our holiday weekend, but there was other things going on, recruiting wise, transfer portal wise. Earlier this week, also name, image, and likeness. I think that by itself deserves its own show, so I might do that next time. But what I really wanted to talk about was recruiting and the transfer portal, guys coming to the Ohio State program. We've had just this month alone, we've had 3 important recruits say that they would like to be a Buckeye in the 2022 recruiting cycle, or in that recruiting class. First one is actually wide receiver Caleb Burton. He is, I believe, a 5-star prospect. If he's not, he will be at some point whenever they do decide to take another look at their star ratings. But anyway, actually, it's not Caleb Burton, it's Caleb Brown. Sorry. The wide receiver is actually helping to boost Ohio State's #1 recruiting class of 2022. And he actually gives the Buckeyes their third ESPN, if you want to follow them for recruiting, but it gives them their third ESPN 300 wide receiver in this class. And if you're keeping track, that's actually 9 over the last 3 classes that of Ohio State's been able to recruit at that one position. Brian Hartline's been just killing it on the recruiting trail. I think it helps that, he's, a former NFL wide receiver, but he's just been doing an awesome job out there on the recruiting trail, teaching these guys once they get on the field. You've been able to see their production. Guys with, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, who've just been doing a phenomenal job. Both those guys are probably in line this next year to be drafted in the first round. So awesome pickup by Brian Hartline, Ryan Day, and the Buckeyes, getting Caleb Brown. It didn't stop there this past month. They ended up picking up 4-star running back, Dylan Hayden. Tremendous get there for the Buckeyes. He was actually highly recruited by Notre Dame, and he actually came out on his birthday and on Twitter announced where he wanted to play. This is an important get for the Buckeyes. They just keep adding to the depth that they've had at running back position. They've had numerous guys come into, obviously, this past recruiting cycle with the 2021 class, 5-star Travion Henderson and 4-star Evan Pryor. You can't discount what they've been able to do recently in the last 2 recruiting cycles. I know it was kind of rough go around 2 years ago. They kind of, I guess you could kind of say they settled with Mayan Williams. I wouldn't say he settled because he's been looking like he's going to be a stud, especially in the very limited action that he's had. But going out and getting another running back, I think helps their cause moving forward. Travion Henderson is going to be getting a load of the carries moving forward. But you need depth. You almost need 2 running backs that can carry the ball. I know we've been kind of spoiled by, the guys like, J.K. Dobbins of recently, his final year with the Buckeyes, and then also with Ezekiel Elliott. But I almost like the aspect of having at least 2 guys that that can run the ball. I mean, saves them from the wear and tear, beating up on these guys. I think they like the aspect of not putting that much pounding on their bodies in college, so they'll be ready for the NFL, everything that's going to be thrown at them at that next level. So I think moving forward, I think these guys are getting smart. I think they realize, they want to be the featured back, but, whether or not they're starting or not, as long as they're getting 15 carries a game, they can still showcase their talents to the NFL scouts. They can still put up some solid numbers in the college ranks. So I think it's important to have a loaded, it's important to have depth anyways, but at that running back position, having, two guys, a recruiting cycle, being able to go out there and share the workload, I think that's the best case scenario for everybody moving forward. And when I want to talk about importance, obviously the Buckeyes have done a great job in the last decade showing guys that they can be starters in the secondary. And Kerry Combs, he's got a very impressive track record of recruiting very highly skilled individuals, and then being able to have them produce at Ohio State and getting recognized by NFL scouts. They've had numerous guys go into the NFL in the first round, and hopefully we can have another one. But in this 2022 class, they're adding a cornerback from Texas, Terrence Brooks. And he looks like he's going to be the third commitment for the Buckeyes in this cycle from Texas, joining five-star quarterback Quinn Ewers. And of course, mentioned wide receiver Burton. So it's very important that we continue plucking these guys from Texas. I mean, it's always nice to get guys from Ohio, but getting these guys from Texas, Florida, California, Georgia, it's important to start plucking these guys out. I know Texas is trying to have their little resurgence now that Steve Sarkisian is the head coach down there. But it's important to get those guys because you want to obviously get the top end talent, but taking it away from major programs, say like Texas, USC, Georgia, Alabama's usually doing a good job of getting guys from Texas. So whenever you can get guys from these hotbed places where they're just producing, it's like a mass production at a factory. These 4 and 5-star guys, get some of those guys building up that national brand. It goes a long way moving forward for the next recruiting cycle. So, in the month of June, we've had some big time gets. Those fireworks just keep on coming. I love it when someone says that they want to be a Buckeye and all of Twitter explodes and they talk about boom, getting the boom. So it just kind of reminded me of fireworks. That's why today's show is going to be, maybe it'll be titled Fireworks. I don't know. But we just keep landing the boom, so to speak. And I think one reason why I wanted to wait until after the weekend, because we've been hearing some rumors that one big giant firework may or may not happen. And that's not even with the 2022 class. It's this class that's basically on Ohio State campus right now. And it's a big defensive lineman by the name of J.T. Now, if you're a 90s kid like myself, I was actually born in 1983, but I grew up in the 90s. J.T. meant something else. If you watched Home Improvement, kid actor, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. No, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big man, JT. I'm going to mess this up. Tuimoloau. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I butchered that. But anyway, he has a 24/7 Sports composite rating of 999. That's right. He's a big old 5-star prospect from the state of Washington. 6'4", maybe 6'5", weighs 277 pounds, at least what's listed there on their website. Ranked as the #1 recruit in all of the land for the 2021 class. This would be a big time get for the Ohio State Buckeyes program, for Larry Johnson, Ryan Day. They've been recruiting this kid hard, and he still hasn't made up his decision. He said early on that he wanted to actually take his official visits. Obviously, with COVID shutting everything down, it was not going to happen for anybody moving forward. And they finally opened up, what was it, last month? I think maybe in May, they said that kids could still take their official visits. Officially, they could be taking them. And JTT, so I don't butcher his name again, I'll just call him that, had 5 schools on his list. He wanted to make sure he saw his hometown school of Washington, giving proper respects to other West Coast teams like Oregon and USC. They've been recruiting him hard. Wanted to go there, take a look around at those campuses. But then he also wanted to look at some major programs like Alabama and Ohio State. And so he actually took 4 of those official visits, and those were Washington, Oregon, USC, and Ohio State. And I find it kind of comical and kind of telling. Everybody's like reading into what's going on with his recruitment, because he hasn't been talking much. He doesn't, I guess, like publicity, so to speak, because he's very quiet and there's been very limited information coming out. But everybody is starting to look at what's going on based on the fact that he canceled one of his visits, and that was to Alabama. Well, who was the last destination that he took? Where did he visit last before he decided to cancel his 5th visit? Well, he ended up going to Columbus, Ohio, took his official visit and decided to cancel the visit to Tuscaloosa. So, of course, everybody is running around saying, oh, he's going to be a Buckeye. He's going to be a Buckeye. While, I would love for that to happen, and the rest of Buckeye Nation, I'm sure you guys would love it too. For the longest time, if you've been looking at 24/7 Sports, they have their crystal ball predictions. You guys got like Brandon Huffman and Bill Couric, Steve Wilfong, another guy, I think Greg Biggins. For the longest time, they've all said, Ohio State's the place to go. They're the leaders in the clubhouse. They'd be surprised if, he doesn't go to Ohio State. And so hopefully that's the case and all. But, anything's possible. Like I said, he's not really talking a whole lot. We're just, kind of reading into little bits of information that we have. But these crystal ball predictions, they're all low to medium. And it says, his interest, the only one that says warmer is Ohio State. He's still considered warm with Oregon, USC, and Washington. Hopefully over this weekend, he'll make an announcement, but, it's getting close to crunch time here. I mean, pretty much all the guys for the 2021 class are, they're ahead of the game, man. They've been on campus. They're enrolled. They're been doing these off-season workouts. They've been going through this program with Mickey Marotti. A lot of them were contributing to the spring game that they've had. So it's like, okay, you've made your official visits that you wanted to go to. It's time to, put pen on paper, sign your, your letter of intent, get hooked up with your class schedule and get on campus, because it's getting to be crunch time. I mean, seriously, if you look at it, today is July 2nd. It's exactly 2 months until Ohio State's going to play their first game. I mean, like literally, it's time to get going now. They're going to be opening up the season against Minnesota. It's going to be a night game on Fox. Buckeyes are opening up as a 14-point favorite. It's everything's starting to, fall in place. Yeah, the season is, basically around the corner. Yeah, like I said, 2 months until that first game. So, if he has, any desire to possibly play in that game, he's going to have to, start making his decision, one way or another. These programs have left a spot open for him because he's, that good. You watch his film, he's a great player. Obviously he's ranked 99 composite. He's the number one recruit in that class. So, anybody would be thrilled to get him, even if it's last minute. And it looks like it's going to be. But, I'm predicting he's going to be making his decision here in the next week or possibly weekend. And, hopefully we can report something positive here very soon, saying that he's going to be on campus, going to be a Buckeye. And so we'll just have to, like we've been doing, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it would be awesome if we could get him, for the next 3 years, having him line up on the opposite end of Jack Sawyer, because he looks like he's going to be a beast. He's a 5-star recruit out of the state of Ohio. You see what he did during the spring game. He had 3/4 sacks, even though they weren't, technically tackling. But it's going to be an impressive defensive line. They've got other guys like Mike Hall. Don't sleep on him in this 2021 class. Larry Johnson, he's a stud recruiter. He develops the guys. Obviously, his track record with the Bosa brothers, Joey and Nick, Chase Young, other guys too, Jonathan Cooper. You got Tommy Togiai that developed very nicely, very well. You got Haskell Garrett. He came back for his senior season. He's going to be there this year. They got other guys too that they've just been able to get drafted and have done an excellent job for the Ohio State program. So it would be great if they could get JTT in this recruiting cycle. So, when I post this podcast, guys, it's going to be interesting to see how outdated my information will be one way or another. We're looking forward to seeing what this kid's going to do. So, in this past month of June, we've had some big time gets, big time guys saying that they want to be an Ohio State Buckeye in the recruiting cycle. But, I also want to talk about the transfer portal. We've seen some guys coming and going this offseason. But I really want to stay focused on what could possibly happen. Some of the news that came out this month was a linebacker from USC, a 5-star kid. You might know him. I'm going to screw up his name. I apologize. I'm never going to get a job in radio or TV. So it's kind of a battle for me to try to pronounce some of these guys' names. But it's Palaie Gaoteote. I know I messed that up. I know I did. It's terrible. I have to apologize. It's a bad pronunciation. Maybe I'll learn it. But anyway, this past month, Ohio State's been going after him hard, and it kind of looks like he is going to be an Ohio State Buckeye. There has been no official word, so to speak, from him on Twitter or whatever, but there's been tea leaves, bits of information that have come out suggesting that he is an Ohio State Buckeye. He is listed in Ohio State's student directory, and he's actually was in a photo with, once again, mentioning Haskell Garrett here. Haskell Garrett's Twitter account, he posted a picture of himself with the linebacker from USC. See how I did that? How I'm not going to say his name because I screwed it up so bad. So I'll just call him Palaie. Palaie? I don't know. Sorry, guys. This is terrible. Anyway, so he's in the student directory. He's actually on campus in a picture with Haskell Garrett. And this would be a big time get for Ohio State because, after this past year, they're trying to replace like 4 veterans, 4 guys that have been there for pretty much half a decade, it seems like. You got Baron Browning that they've got to replace, Pete Warner, Tuff Borland, Justin Hillard. Those guys have basically locked it down at that position, at least for the last 3 years. And, they're trying to replace those guys that have been starters who've got a wealth of experience and knowledge at that linebacker position. I mean, they've got some studs moving forward, but, playing time's been very limited for these guys. And getting a guy like Palaie would be a big get. He's 6'2", 250-pound senior linebacker. He's a former 5-star. Looked at 24/7. His composite rating was 99. He just hasn't been able to see a lot of action. I think the most games that he's been able to play in his time with USC was about 7 or 8 games. He's been very limited by injuries. And I think he kind of wanted a fresh start, understandable. I'm not sure if it's telling of the head coach over there with Clay Helton or whatnot, but, if it's his senior year and he wants to go out with a bang, what better program than Ohio State? I mean, you could go to Alabama, you could go to Clemson. You kind of want to end your career playing for a national title. Ohio State's just as good as those 2 programs. And, Ohio State definitely has a need for him. It would be a tremendous pickup for them if he's actually able to play. And the reason why I say that is because that transfer portal, man, I think it's so stupid. The transfer portal, the NCAA has really screwed things up over the years. There's just too many things to mention. But if you're unfamiliar with the transfer portal, I'm sure you are. Since you're listening to this college football podcast, you know what it is. But if you don't know what it is, it's basically like free agency for college kids. When you sign your letter of intent, you saying you're going to this college, for 4 years, you get a full ride scholarship. For whatever reason you decide that you want to leave, whether you're upset about playing time or, say a coach leaves and you really like the coach and now he's gone and you want to follow him, or you just, want a fresh start somewhere, you can enter your name into the transfer portal and you can wait to see what type of interests that other schools may have with you. And you can go ahead and sign, see if they offer you a scholarship and see if you want to go play for another college. And like I said, it's basically like free agency, like in, the majors or whatever NFL. But yeah, it's the problem that the NCAA was trying to avoid was they would say, okay, in order to transfer, you would have to sit out a year unless you got, this special exemption or a waiver. And then, it would go to like a review committee and then they would decide whether or not you qualified in order to play right away. Because if you aren't graduating, you would have to sit out a year. And so, obviously things have changed. You see guys like, say, for example, Joe Burrow left Ohio State. Well, he actually was a graduate transfer, so he didn't have to sit out a year. But you get guys like in the past, Justin Fields coming over from Georgia to Ohio State, or Trey Sermon coming from Oklahoma to Ohio State. They had to actually get a waiver from the NCAA to play right away. And they were granted, that exemption. And they could, didn't have to wait out a year. Well, with Palaie, sorry guys. Anyway, in order for him to play, he's going to need a waiver, which sucks because 2 weeks after his decision to enter into his name into the transfer portal, the NCAA came out and said, because of COVID, blah, 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 we've decided to change our rules, and we're giving, college athletes the opportunity to basically have a free pass. You can go ahead and transfer one time to a new school, and you don't have to sit out for an entire year. And so we're kind of in limbo right now to see what type of ruling that he's going to get. Because obviously it's going to be huge for Ohio State to try to replace, basically 4 starters from that unit. And getting a guy, that's 5-star, 99 composite rating guy, a guy that's, has experience and some knowledge he's going to bring with himself. It's going to be highly important for Ohio State to get this guy on the field as soon as possible. Definitely for this upcoming season, 2021 recruiting season, or not recruiting season, but their actual season. It would be a big get for them. So hopefully they can, hopefully NCAA rules in his favor and Ohio State's favor, and he's able to play right away. He doesn't have to sit out here. So that would be a big firework that would come down the pipe right there. So a lot of things going on with Ohio State's program right now. Like I said, we're waiting on JTT, see what happens with him as well. And, 2 months until the season starts, guys. It's going to happen. It's, time flies by really quickly. It's going to be here before we know it. Hopefully good things are to come. And, things are looking bright for Ohio State. And hopefully it continues. Looking forward to the season, getting ready for it. I'm getting psyched. It's been too long since we've had a game, and we want to get that bad taste out of our mouth after the national championship against Alabama. So hopefully you guys can hang tight for the next 2 months. I'm gonna have to do the same before the next game. And, I'm going to keep dropping some podcasts here. I'll probably talk one about name, image, and likeness. If things get slow, I would like to revisit, those final couple games with the Big Ten championship game and those 2 playoff games. If, news gets, like I said, gets kind of thin, but hopefully it doesn't. There's things on the horizon to look forward to. But you know what? I appreciate all of you guys for listening in. Today's show can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. There's some other ones too. I just go on Anchor and I upload the show on there. So, I think there's a total of 7 or 8 ways you can listen to the show. Obviously, you already know of one of them because you're listening. But please go over to my Facebook page, hit the like button, share it with your friends and family who are big Ohio State Buckeye fans. Go on there and leave me some comments. I'd like to field some questions. I like to maybe start answering some of those on some of these future podcasts. But you know what? I'm just doing this for fun. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. We've got 4th of July weekend coming up here, guys. So you know what? Stay safe out there. Enjoy yourselves. I know I'm going to be probably drinking a little bit, hanging out with the family, but don't do anything stupid. Please, if you got families, you got friends out there, you know what? Celebrate, have a good time, but do it in a responsible manner. Because I'd like to have you guys listen to the next show, which will probably be in 2 weeks. I think that is a good time frame. Busy dude, got a full-time job, family of wife and 4 kids. So things get kind of hectic and busy, but I definitely appreciate all of you guys. Stay safe out there. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. And remember, go Bucks and OH.